Well, speaking of DC and Marvel, I think Brandon might be able to tell leans a little bit towards the DC side, which is cool. Well, and there's a big movie dropping obviously here next week. Next Friday is...
Next Friday, I'm going Saturday.
Aquaman, of course, as we're talking about. So you're going Saturday. This Saturday?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you get the early, Amazon Prime early.
Yeah, I got my ticket to see it just basically a week early.
It's getting good reviews. So,
so how does that work?
They did a special promo because it's already out basically everywhere else in the world now except the United States or North America. But they did a promo where you can, through Amazon Prime, if you have Amazon Prime, you could buy tickets to a showing on this coming up Saturday.
Well, what I mean is there a specific theater you have to go to?
Yep. So, yeah, it was the Warren West in Wichita. So they didn't have IMAX because IMAX will be playing Mortal Engines this week.
The movie that nobody will see?
Unfortunately, I mean, it looks pretty awesome still, but nobody's going to see it.
Because everybody's going to be at Spider-Man?
Because pretty much everybody's going to be at Spider-Man, and some people will be at Aquaman, and I mean, there's been...
Well, this week everybody will be at Spider-Man.
Probably.
Oh, that drops this week?
Movie,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've even thought about going to see Spider-Man.
Looks good.
Same day as Aquaman.
Oh, yeah.
It looks awesome.
I'm definitely
they both
going to see
good.
both of them.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to see Spider-Man and Aquaman.
But yeah, I got my ticket to Aquaman this Saturday, and it's a regular screening, not an IMAX. So I went ahead and bought my IMAX ticket for next Friday as well.
Because of course you did.
Because why wouldn't I? I'm going to give it 2 shots.
Video file.
Like a movie like that is actually they expand the aspect ratio for the IMAX viewing, so there's 26% more actual viewable area on there. So they spent the money on the extra visual effects on the outside of what you normally see.
20% more.
Well, they did that for
in layman's terms. Nobody else is going to notice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's actually a decent amount. And Infinity War did the same thing, and the entire movie was filmed in IMAX. And only in IMAX could you see it at the full 1.9 aspect.
I've only been to one IMAX.
The rest of the
screening.
theaters got the snap.
I've only been to one IMAX screening, and it was, ironically, Oz. So yeah, it was cool. It was a good experience. I think it was 3D.
I've only been there once.
I love IMAX.
Oh yeah, every chance I get.
If I could go Dolby Cinema, if they had one around here, I would. But IMAX is what we've got. Sound is better. Picture's better.
Did you go see Infinity Wars?
Yeah.
The IMAX?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I wished I would have.
Yeah. It's, I mean, especially any movie that I know that they're going to have an expanding aspect ratio that's going to take up more of the screen.
Oh, yeah.
Which really started with Dark Knight was when the scenes opened up on certain ones.
That was one of my favorite IMAX movies.
Yeah. That was awesome in IMAX. And, yeah, it takes up more screen and then it goes back down.
Well, and with Infinity Wars especially, I mean, that one was so... there was so much to see.
Well, there was so much going on.
So many characters, and there was so much. Civil War was another one that I think would have been a really, really good one because there were so many different characters.
And the airport scene opened up on that one.
That'd have been cool.
So that one was pretty cool. Batman versus Superman, the actual fight between Batman and Superman, and almost all the way to the end of the movie was just so much.
I love
bigger.
that in IMAX.
The nightmare scene was bigger in IMAX, so you could see more of the apocalypse. Plumes coming up, and IMAX is really cool if they take advantage of it. Sometimes it's just upscaled and they make the sound a little bit better, but it's still more enjoyable. But even the new Mission Impossible, the Halo jump scene, and then the final helicopter scene all open up to the wider aspect, and it's really nice. It's cool.
I do have to say,
spoilers.
The IMAX movies, I'd rather see the IMAX and not the IMAX 3D.
I mean, 3D is one of those things. The next one that I really care about seeing in 3D is the next 20 Avatar movies or whatever.
See you in 20 years.
Yeah. But I mean, usually the Warren, which is about 45 minutes away.
Do they even have a release date on those yet?
2020, 2021, 2023, and 2024.
Oh, I didn't know they were making that many.
Yeah, there's 4 coming.
I've still never seen the first one.
Depending on whether or not the first one tanks at theaters.
Well, I mean,
it's James Cameron.
There's almost no way with
he's
way
got,
that the
he's
first
got 2
one.
of the most popular.
Well, I feel like
Avatar
that
was
would
like
have been more relevant like 5 or 6 years ago, even compared to now.
You can have a conversation with James Cameron because I won't bet James Cameron.
Yeah,
it was like
he
wins.
James
Cameron wins.
Box office movie of all time, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Avatar's number 1.
I'm not
Titanic
saying
is like number 3 now.
I'm not saying Avatar wasn't a good movie. I'm saying I feel like they waited too long.
I feel like they did too. But if James Cameron, who is the king of Hollywood, says that he wants to make 9 more, The 9 more they're not gonna make as much. It's not gonna make $3 billion.
But
it's gonna make a lot of money.
But to what he's saying, I mean, The Godfather was one of the biggest movies of all time too, and between 2 and 3, there was a giant. It was 20 years between 2 and 3.
Was it really?
Almost.
Yeah, it was a big jump.
It's going to be 11 years, but we're talking a movie that's still decently big in pop culture. They have the Avatar land at, was it Disney World?
Yeah, it's Disney World Animal Kingdom.
Is Avatar a Disney product? I did not know that.
No, well, it is now because no, actually, I mean it's not.
Yeah, they have Pandora. It's freaking amazing.
They own it they own the Pandora world.
The whole world of Avatar. I mean, you walk in there, you feel. I mean, you are in Pandora. You're in that world. You just have to experience it.
Disney World.
Disney World Animal Kingdom, one of the properties there. Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
But
okay.
Disney is buying Fox, but Fox just releases.
If anyone
James
wants to
Cameron's
send us
movies.
to Disney World,
Yeah.
Woohoo! Yeah, I'll go again. I'll go twice a year.
But yeah, if you don't bet against James Cameron, you'll lose.
Okay, money bags.
No. Yeah, it's not really. That's why I'm not. Yeah, no, that's it'd be interesting. I need to watch the movie.
Watch the first one.
I haven't even seen Titanic. It's bad.
Titanic is a really good movie.
I'm not against him.
I'm sure
I'm not
Henry
against
hates
anything.
it, but
Spoilers: the boat sinks.
Yeah.
Oh
If
man,
you
thanks
didn't know.
a lot, man.
but no, yeah, well, you should definitely watch Avatar. It's pretty awesome. The 3D was mind blowing when it came out. That's part of why it made.
No,
2.8.
I love Titanic because I get to watch Leonardo DiCaprio drown.
Well, hey, to each their own, you know. Yeah, that's in Aquaman and DC movies. I guess we've had a little bit of a resurgence in the Snyder Cut talk with what Momoa said. Which again, Henry, if you want to go ahead and say it, go ahead and say it because you already have, right?
The Snyder Cut does not exist.
No.
No, you haven't already said that. So
No, Jason. No, I'm just teasing. Jason Momoa. They asked him about if he wanted to see it, and he said, "Yeah,
fuck yeah, I want to see it."
Yeah, he wasn't right. That in those words, he said, "I'm not supposed to talk about these things," but then he said, "Yeah,
in this industry, you can't really say what you want to say. You can't talk about these things, but heck yeah, I want to see it."
Right.
I'll
So
use my one F word right there.
no, that's fine. That's fine. That's what the censor's for. The censors are here for us guys. It's okay. They're here for Henry and Brandon today.
But apparently,
because there'll be a lot of bleeps on both Henry and Brandon.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Working overtime, we're gonna have to pay him more.
But apparently, the Aquaman that actually is coming out does tie into the Snyder Cut. There's things that they could have cut out of Aquaman or changed during reshoots that are directly tied to what happens at the end of the original version of the Snyder Cut movie of Justice League. So, is it done? It could be now.
well, and here's what I'm hoping that they do to help to make it succeed, because trying to do DC the way Marvel has done theirs, it's just not going to work. And so,
Actually,
and
if
we
they had
saw
done it the way that they did it, it would have
Yeah.
worked because
And-
they introduced all the characters first, and then they brought them together.
well, yes, but
Because they did that in Lord of the Rings. Everybody got their own spin-off movie first, and then they made the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So you knew all the characters already, right?
Spank me.
Gayest thing you've ever
but
seen.
even then, even having introduced everyone basically in the Justice League, instead of having characters tie in within each movie like the way Marvel has done all theirs, having their own world the way what was done in Wonder Woman. I mean, we saw the how that has succeeded beyond expect.
What most people actually don't know, I pay a lot of attention to this, was the entire basis of the DC world was a central story. It was a 5-part story about basically centered around Superman, and the Justice League was around him. There was a 5-film arc starting with Man of Steel into Batman v Superman, Justice League Part 1, Justice League Part 2, and then there was a 5th movie that was going to conclude it all, and it was going to be an infinite crisis kind of thing. There was going to be a major dark side war. It was telling a story, and then it was developed in a way that was going to allow side stories like Wonder Woman, which takes place 100 years before the current timeline, or Aquaman. At the end of the Snyder Cut, they ask him to come and help with what is happening in Atlantis, and he says, "No, I'm leaving." And then this movie picks up right after that. So this was it was created to allow side stories to come out of the main story, but there was a saga at the middle of it instead of like a TV series, which is kind of what Marvel has become. Is you have your 5 or 6 episodes, and then you have your season finale, which is an Avengers movie. It was just a different way of doing things. There was a different approach, and now everybody's like, oh, you should have done it the Marvel way, and now they're doing it the Marvel way, and everybody's like, no, you don't need to copy Marvel. You should have done it your own way. There's just no pleasing everybody.
Oh, no.
But there was a central story.
Especially Marvel fanboys.
Well, I mean, any fanboys, really,
But
in general.
but I do think the introducing all the characters beforehand, before the Justice League is probably the best way to do it.
And I disagree. Superman was the one that really needed to get his house in order and be turned into something, because he's always been very difficult to do.
You didn't like the way the Avengers did theirs, or
no? I think that what they did was just fine, but I don't think that everything has to be done that way.
Yeah,
because that's where the argument is.
Because the only drawback I saw of it was that everyone came together, and it to me it just didn't make a whole lot of sense the way they all just.
Well, not in the Justice League that we got, because the movie was completely butchered and cut up and replaced with cheesy jokes and I mean, you can watch it and you can see the green screen still reflecting off of the face. That movie is just a total mess. So you can't use that as a basis of what should have been done, because what was originally made is now 3.5 hours long.
Is he out completely now, Snyder?
Zack Snyder? Well, no, he's an executive producer on
Aquaman.
He's executive producer on Wonder Woman.
But I mean, in terms of directing, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's as of right now, he's not directing anything for DC. He's just executive.
It is good to have an executive producer, one singular.
Let's be honest,
mind. The way that the Russo brothers have pretty much been the mind behind all of the.
Well, yeah. Well, they have a guy with the Russo brothers.
Not
the mind behind it. Kevin Feige.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think.
And they kind of have that now, but more or less, Warner Brothers had no idea what they were doing. They had been told what Zack Snyder was planning on doing, but they got jealous of Marvel, because Marvel's successful.
Yeah.
And they think that on movie number 2 they need to make $1 billion, which movie number 2 for Marvel did not make $1 billion, but they wanted Marvel money now. They didn't want to have to do any of the legwork, so they started butchering up their movies to try to emulate Marvel. And that's where Suicide Squad came in and copied the Guardians of the Galaxy formula. It was like, hey, if we put a bunch of cool music in there and a lot of really weird jokes, people will show up.
I didn't even think of it that way.
People did show up.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers filmed a movie, made a movie, and then because of the reaction to the Bohemian Rhapsody trailer, had that trailer company re-edit the entire movie and add all kinds of pop culture songs. They just wanted that Guardians of the Galaxy feel.
Gotcha.
And that's what it got. And that movie's kind of a mess.
Yeah.
It's still not as much of a mess as Justice League.
And it's a big waste of the Joker, in my opinion.
But again, there's an hour worth of footage of the Joker on the cutting room floor. They just completely cut out of that movie. There's a lot more to Joker and Harley that was completely cut out of that movie. There's scenes of Joker being abusive to Harley because they're like, people can't handle the abuse.
Yeah, I've heard.
That's
seen
what
that
makes
stuff.
that character dynamic. It's not supposed to be comfortable.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be the emo relationship we got.
But no, I mean, I didn't like Jared Leto's take, but with what we were delivered, I don't know that was his take. His take. It's a bunch of weird stuff kind of jarbled together to make Harley Quinn the star of the movie. And even David Ayer's been speaking out against it, the director, lately, and talking kind of about what the original vision was, and it was drastically different.
Yeah.
And then Wonder Woman came out, and that is a very complete film, although it was changed to scale it down. The final battle that everybody kind of complains about of her versus Ares was much bigger on a much grander scale, and he was the size. Well, he was the
trying
size
to cut
of
everything
God.
to 2 hours.
I mean, that was still 2 hours and 23 minutes, I believe. But they were trying to scale it down to feel like a little bit of a smaller movie, where everything Snyder does is gods. When you're seeing a Snyder movie, Superman is a god. Even Batman is fighting a god, and he has to come off godlike. And Wonder Woman looks like a god. Mm-hmm. And then even in Justice League, you actually see the gods. You see Zeus, you see Ares. Ares was supposed to fight Darkseid in Justice League at the very beginning, before he was actually Darkseid. And all of that was taken out of the movie. And Darkseid was supposed to feel like Sauron from Lord of the Rings. He was there. It was
I mean,
a presence.
you were even supposed to have the Green Lanterns in there, and we never got them.
Well, I mean...
You got a lantern.
Which people are wondering if he was actually supposed to be in that movie. If you actually look at it, when his ring flies off and zigzags past Steppenwolf, that zigzag pattern is not how a ring flies off anybody's hands in any of the Green Lantern comic books ever. But what it is the flight pattern of the Omega beams. Which makes sense that would have been Darkseid using his Omega beams, which kind of have more of
That's
a
why we have Brandon.
pattern.
That's right.
There's just
Brandon
so
and
many,
Henry.
He catches all this stuff.
there's so many little things that once
All
you
the
actually
stuff I
tear
didn't
it
catch.
down, you're like, holy cow.
And then there's still rumors that they're going to use Flash as a Flashpoint reboot because...
that's pretty much gone.
Is it?
Is it? Because I know
That
that
would've been
there's
fun,
still
though.
rumors that
I know I'd
Affleck
heard
and
of it.
Cavill are out.
Nobody knows, but there's not going to be a Flashpoint. They're not even talking about a Superman movie at this moment. Batman is getting a trilogy. His script gets turned in by the end of the year.
There is a different actor for that, though, because it's going to be a younger version, is what I understand.
Maybe. I think
Interesting.
They're leaving it open for Affleck to maybe come back if he wants to, but he needs to decide quick because it's time to move on.
Yeah.
Cavill, nobody knows. We'll know probably by the time the Shazam comes out.
Cavill's doing The Witcher right now, so he kind of stepped back. I don't think he's out for good, but he's out for the moment.
Nobody knows. They're focusing on smaller movies, but they kind of stepped away from the Flashpoint because everybody's basing their knowledge of Flashpoint on the Flash TV show, which
BBS.
is stupid.
Oh, no. My knowledge of Flashpoint is Flashpoint.
Well, yeah, people don't realize that Flashpoint was violent. It was brutal. If you're trying to reset your universe to a lighter tone, Flashpoint's not the way you do it.
Oh, man. I love
Wonder Woman cuts off Mara's head.
I love the Batman from that Thomas Wayne with the fucking pistols.
He's got his language.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah,
Yes,
a
yeah.
lot of people die in that book and in the animated movie. If you think they need to do Flashpoint because you saw it on Flash and you saw that it changed a couple of little things, no. Go watch the
It
DC
was a
animated
drastic
movie or read
change.
the book. It's not the way if you're trying to reset your universe.
That's what they
it's not
used
the way.
to reset it to the New 52.
Yeah, and I mean Flashpoint's an awesome story. It really is, and the animated movie is great, and the graphic novel
And they
is great.
even then had to turn around and go fix the New 52 with Rebirth.
Yeah.
And bring back the legacy characters, which they were trying to eliminate.
Yeah, a simple rule of thumb: if you like the CW shows, that's great. It's a really good entry point. But if you're basing all of your knowledge on DC characters on what you see on CW, stop it.